The sun hangs dim and distant, filtered through an orange haze that turns midday into twilight. Winds whip across plains of dark, frozen sand. Lakes glisten under thick clouds, not with water, but with methane. Above all of it looms Saturn, massive and radiant, suspended in Titan's sky like a painted god. This isn't a science fiction dream. It's Titan, Saturn's largest moon. Cold, distant, and hostile, yes, but also strangely Earth-like in its patterns. It has a thick atmosphere, seasons, liquid on the surface, organic chemistry. In some ways, Titan is the most familiar alien place we've ever found. And for some, that makes it the perfect place to begin again. Titan is nearly 1.4 billion kilometers from Earth. A round-trip message takes over 2 hours. A spacecraft, even at high speed, needs 7 to 10 years to arrive. This isn't a vacation spot, it's an odyssey. The crew would leave Earth behind for good. They'd live aboard starships equipped with artificial gravity, radiation shielding, vertical farms, and closed-loop life support. Every breath, every calorie, every drop of water would be recycled. Their ship would be both vessel and rehearsal, training them for the life awaiting them at journey's end. And when they finally arrive, they descend slowly through Titan's thick, golden sky. Titan's atmosphere is thick enough to fly in, dense enough for parachutes. Landers would float downward through 300 kilometers of haze, finally breaking through to a surface made of rock-hard ice and hydrocarbon sand. The landscape is quiet, alien, beautiful. Domed habitats would be deployed, insulated, pressurized, and powered. The settlers would step outside in insulated suits, the temperature nearly minus 290 degrees Fahrenheit minus 179 degrees Celsius, and place their boots onto the methane-drenched terrain. It would be the first human footprint on Titan, and the first step toward turning this frozen moon into a home. Terraforming all of Titan is impossible, but localized terraforming, creating small, habitable ecosystems inside domes, is within reach. Inside, artificial suns simulate daylight. Crops grow in vertical farms. Water is recycled. Waste is converted into fertilizer and fuel. These biodomes aren't just shelters, they're ecosystems. Self-sustaining, modular, expandable. Outside, the colony begins to grow piece by piece. Each dome a breath of Earth. Each tunnel a thread in the web of a new civilization. Titan's atmosphere is primarily nitrogen with a dash of methane, far too thin and cold for humans to breathe without protection. For the settlers, surviving the cold isn't the only challenge. Learning to live on Titan requires mastering the very air around them. Airlocks, tight seals, and domes protect every structure. The biosphere within each dome replicates Earth's atmosphere, constantly recycled and purified. But when stepping outside, it's an entirely different reality. Each breath is taken in sealed suits, each step measured against the risk of exposure to the harsh elements. It's a reminder of the alienness of Titan, a place where humanity is not native but a determined visitor. Food is another frontier of innovation. Initially, the settlers grow staple crops like hydroponic potatoes, soybeans, and algae, all modified to thrive in the artificial, nutrient-rich environment. But even that takes ingenuity. Instead of relying solely on earth-grown seeds, the settlers begin experimenting with indigenous Titanian biology. They alter algae strains to flourish in Titan's methane-heavy environment. Tiny bioluminescent organisms in the icy seas offer the potential for biofuels, edible proteins, and a whole new world of culinary discovery. The settlers learn to transform the very land around them, using Titan's frozen atmosphere to their advantage. They innovate new methods of farming, creating nutrient-rich bioreactors that cultivate algae and bacteria to produce both food and the necessary chemicals for medicine. Titan becomes a canvas for human ingenuity, where every challenge is met with inventive solutions. Titan's isolated environment demands a new approach to everything, from interpersonal relationships to art, religion, and technology. As the first generations grow up, they form a distinct Titanian identity, a culture born out of necessity, but shaped by the environment. Social interactions and cultural activities evolve from Earth-based traditions, but take on a unique flavor. Life on Titan means slowness. Time itself seems to stretch in the thick atmosphere, and people begin to value patience, persistence, and meticulous planning. Rushing is a luxury no one can afford, and this ethos permeates Titanian society. Art, once an earth-centered reflection of beauty, begins to shift. Sculptures grow from organic, methane-based materials, carefully crafted to withstand Titan's extreme cold. Music is composed with a focus on the resonance of deep, rich tones that echo through Titan's dense air, where every note reverberates longer than it would on Earth. Visual art, too, begins to reflect the hazy, ethereal light of Titan's sky. Paintings are created to simulate the soft, golden hue of the sun as it peeks through thick clouds, with shades and hues that are distinct to Titan alone. Culturally, the colonists draw on Earth's traditions but begin to reimagine them. Holidays are adapted for Titan's 16-day cycle of day and night, with celebrations revolving around Titanian seasons and Saturn's movements in the sky. A new mythology begins to emerge as Titan becomes a place of discovery, where settlers celebrate their unique role as the next phase of humanity's cosmic journey. As Titan's surface is explored, humanity begins to understand that it's not just the terrain of ice and methane above the ground that holds the key to Titan's mysteries, but what lies beneath. Deep within Titan's icy shell, scientists detect an ocean, a vast sea of liquid water beneath layers of frozen methane. It is kept warm not by sunlight, but by tidal forces from Saturn's gravitational pull. This ocean becomes an area of intense interest for the explorers, for within these dark, saltwater depths lies the possibility of microbial life, perhaps life unlike anything humanity has ever encountered. Titan's icy shell, which was once seen as an insurmountable barrier, becomes a gateway to the mysteries of deep-sea exploration. Robotic submarines dive into the liquid oceans beneath the ice, studying the geothermal vents and their potential to harbor life. Advanced sensors send back real-time data to Titan's surface as researchers begin to detect strange biochemical signatures, compounds that hint at the possibility of life, albeit alien and vastly different from life as we know it on Earth. But the discovery of life beneath Titan's frozen surface raises profound ethical questions. The debate begins: should humanity establish contact, or should the microbes remain undisturbed? What responsibility do the settlers have in protecting an ecosystem that has existed for billions of years, far older than their own civilization? Generations born on Titan begin to define what it means to live in the outer solar system. These children, grown up in Titan's artificial environments, have never known the warmth of Earth. Their bones grow differently, adapted to the low gravity. Their muscles, too, are weaker, and scientists work diligently to create exercise regimens that maintain their health in Titan's reduced gravity. But it's not just physical differences, there are cognitive ones too. Titanian children process information differently from Earth-born children. Their world is one of delayed gratification, of planning for long-term goals, of thinking not just of the immediate future, but of centuries ahead. Titan's youth learn to look at their moon with awe and respect, not as a temporary outpost, but as their home, a place that requires careful stewardship. They start to ask deep philosophical questions. What is it to be human in a world that is so far from Earth? The isolation from Earth, combined with the cultural and environmental shifts, leads them to develop new ideas of identity. Earth is a distant myth for them, something told through the stories of their parents and old books, a place of nostalgia and longing. Over time, Titan becomes more than a colony. It becomes the home, the only home that many of its people will ever know. The Titan-born generation grows up learning the philosophy of survival, but also that of thriving, dreaming, and ultimately, pushing humanity further into the solar system. By the mid-22nd century, Titan is no longer just a lifeline for Earth. It becomes a central hub for the entire solar system. The settlements grow exponentially as industries geared toward deep space exploration take root. The abundance of methane on Titan proves to be a game-changer. Ships from Earth and Mars, as well as mining stations in the asteroid belt, come to Titan to refuel. The once small-scale extraction of methane from Titan's lakes and seas is now an industry in full force. Titan's surface is dotted with advanced refineries, massive hydrocarbon extraction rigs, and orbital facilities that process methane into rocket fuel. Titan's role as a cosmic fueling station allows humanity to send ships to the outer planets with ease. Titan becomes the gateway to exploring the entire outer solar system. Ships bound for Uranus, Neptune, and beyond no longer need to make the long journey back to Earth to refuel. Titan becomes the backbone of humanity's deep space exploration network. Moreover, Titan's biosphere is used to create biofuels and other organic compounds that fuel future space colonies on moons like Europa, Enceladus, and beyond. Titan becomes a manufacturing hub not just for its inhabitants, but for all of humanity's ambitions in space.